If you've been wondering where I've been for the past couple of weeks, I am back, and oh my gosh, do I have a story to tell you. Today is going to be one of my monthly reset videos where I talk about goals and plans for the month ahead, so the month of October, as well as what has happened in the previous month, the month of September. And the month of September was wild. I think I need to start off with where I've been and why I just took a 2-week break, especially if you don't follow me on Instagram. I was in New York for a work trip and was there for just a couple of days and was planning to travel back. And before I get too far into this story, I am pregnant. If you don't know, I was about 26 weeks pregnant when this happened, and I started feeling some pain in my lower stomach kind of in the middle of the night, probably before I flew out. I woke up in the morning, I still wasn't feeling great. I was having a lot of trouble just gathering myself and getting to the airport, so I called my OB, let her know what type of pain I was having. Again, it was like really in the front of my stomach. I wanted to make sure I wasn't going into preterm labor or anything, but I knew I was not feeling well, and told them that I was about to get on a flight in about an hour and I was wondering what I should do, if I should not get on the plane and I should go to the emergency room there, or if I should go to their office when I land. And basically the advice they gave was that I should be fine to go on the plane based on the symptoms that I was describing, and I should get on the flight, but when I landed, just go into their office and they would make time for me to get seen. So I told my husband that I really wasn't feeling well, and even though I drove to the airport, he was going to be waiting for me and was going to pick me up and drive me straight to their office. So I was able to board the plane. I was in pain, not feeling great, but I thought I was okay. And honestly, about 5 minutes into the plane ride, things took a crazy turn. I started feeling intense pain in my left flank, so like right in my back, and I got really nauseous all of a sudden. I couldn't get comfortable on my seat. I knew I was just in excruciating pain. I went to the back of the plane and started throwing up. It was just a really, really bad scene. I can't even describe the level of pain I was in. I couldn't make it back to my seat. I was laying on the floor in the back of the plane again, like by the bathroom there with the flight attendant attending to me. And at that point I started thinking maybe I'm having a kidney stone, because I have had kidney stones in the past, and that pain in my back was just getting so intense. Again, I wasn't sure because I had pain in the front of my stomach before, so I didn't know if the baby was okay or what was going on, but I was non-functioning on the plane. It was so bad. Again, couldn't stop throwing up. I think I was like writhing around on the dirty plane floor in pain, hopefully not screaming out too loud. A really, really kind passenger gave me his blanket to use, but they did end up asking if there were any passengers on the plane that had any sort of medical background, whether they were nurses or doctors or EMTs, paramedics, literally anything. And it was a small plane and a not full flight, pretty empty flight. So nobody responded. There was no medical personnel or nobody with medical background there to help me. And I think the flight attendants got very concerned, as well as the pilot, with me being pregnant and just the amount of pain they could see that I was in. I was having trouble responding to them with how much pain I was in, and they made the decision to land the plane and had to divert the plane. It was going direct from New York to Omaha, where I live. And they told me, this is not an option anymore. We are landing this plane. Your life's at stake. Your baby's life is at stake. And we are going to divert the whole plane and land and have the paramedics meet us right on the tarmac when we land and take you to the hospital. So at that point, I think the first thing I asked was, like, what's going to happen to the rest of the passengers? Are they still going to make it to their final destination? Because I obviously felt terrible that I impacted so many people's travel plans, but the other side of me was just so relieved that I was going to get medical attention, because this is the worst physical pain I've been in my entire life. And again, I've had kidney stones before and they are horrific. Also given birth before. I personally think that kidney stones are more painful than giving birth. And this pain specifically was just so bad that I knew I needed some sort of painkiller immediately, like the second I landed. So I was grateful that they made that decision to land the plane, and obviously were taking my safety and my baby's safety really seriously. I couldn't even make it back to my seat to land the plane, so one of the flight attendants had to like brace around me and hold me down while the plane landed so I didn't go rolling down the aisle or anything like that. She was so kind. She kept making these hot water packs to put on my back where it was really hurting, which nothing was truly helping, but that did help a little bit. And she put some of the little wings, like the plane wings that pilots give little kids, in my backpack for baby number 2 and for Owen as well to take home, because she was trying to get my mind off things, asking me about Owen and about my life and other things like that, just trying to get my mind off of the pain. And both of the flight attendants were really great. When they landed, the paramedics met me and I went straight off the plane, and they took me to the closest emergency room there. And I told them I thought I was having a kidney stone. Luckily, I have a cousin who lives in Chicago who is an OBGYN. She met me at that hospital, and they quickly did an ultrasound after addressing my pain, which took a moment, and I was finally able to calm down a little bit. But even my cousin, who's the OBGYN, who's quite older than I am and very experienced, said this was the most physical pain she's ever seen anybody in her entire career. So again, I was not doing well, and they were able to tell that I had a kidney stone that was causing a complete blockage, so I needed to have surgery. I had surgery in Chicago. They transferred me to a second hospital. My mom flew out to be with me, and finally a couple days later, I was able to fly back to Omaha. Was thinking that I was on the mend and doing a lot better, and was home for about 24 hours, and the pain came right back. It slowly progressed over a period of hours where I was like, ow, my back is starting to hurt again. And then I laid down with a heating pad and it was still hurting. And then I couldn't sleep at night. And the next morning I knew I needed to go back to the emergency room. So I went in Omaha to the emergency room and ended up in the hospital for another like 5 or so days. So this was over a week in the hospital where I had to get a second surgery. They were able to find a second kidney stone and remove that, as well as the other one that they couldn't remove with the first surgery. Just complete craziness. And I know that this is not the typical content I share, but I of course wanted to update everyone because I was getting some DMs on Instagram and messages asking where I was, making sure I'm okay. Yes, I am doing so much better. I had one more procedure after I was discharged, and I think I'm finally starting to feel a lot better. Just like a little bit of residual pain, but the kidney pain has gone away, which was the worst. And the baby was awesome through this entire process. When you're pregnant, if you don't know, and you're having other sort of medical complications, I think it's if you're a certain point in your pregnancy, you're typically placed like on a labor and delivery floor or within a certain unit where they're taking care of pregnant women. So they were constantly monitoring the baby. The heart rate looked great the entire time. No matter what medications they were giving me or procedures I had, he did awesome. So I'm okay, the baby's okay, and we will get back to regularly scheduled programming. But September was a disaster basically because of that, and now we're trickling into October. I usually film these videos a little bit earlier, but this was truly the first time that I could sit down with my camera. I had to take a bunch of time off of work, so it's a lot of catch up going on, and I did want to get this video out just because I wanted to provide the update, but of course taking care of myself first and my health and my unborn child's health, as well as the rest of my family, and just appreciate you still being here. So I want to mention some happy things that happened in the month of September. I have my planner here as I usually do. I went on a baby moon in September. Jim and I went to Grand Cayman. We went to the Cayman Islands for almost a week and had the nicest vacation. It was so lovely just to focus on the two of us, hang out on the beach. I would highly recommend going to Grand Cayman over this period of time, like right after Labor Day, because it is really low season there. Of course, it's hurricane season, so you're kind of risking things a little bit there, but prices are much cheaper, and it's just nice if you're looking for a relaxing vacation because there aren't that many people there. The hotel we stayed at, I think, was at 20% occupancy when we were there, which I was looking for. I was not looking for a party scene being pregnant and trying to enjoy spending time with Jim alone. And my mother-in-law and father-in-law watched Owen. They also watched Owen when I was in the hospital. So Owen basically spent half of September at my in-laws' house. So I was worried that Owen was going to think he lived with them and that I didn't exist anymore. But he has adjusted to coming back to our house and is doing great. The other thing that happened that took up some time in September was that my parents came out to visit. The plan was just for them to come out to visit this past weekend and to spend some time with us, see Owen, also maybe help with a couple of house projects because, as I've mentioned in I think my previous video, that they're very, very handy. I was hoping they'd help with like just a couple of things, but my mom flew out to Chicago. She actually flew out to Omaha when I was hospitalized the second time, and that bled into the trip where she was planning to be here anyway. So my dad just came out and met her and still had a weekend with them, but I was still in a lot of pain. So we didn't get to do a lot of fun things while my parents were here. We were mostly laying low and hanging out at the house, but it was so helpful to have an extra set of hands. My parents took care of dinner every night they were here because I was in no condition to cook, helped taking care of Owen, and again, did some house projects. So I can't wait to share with you Owen's big boy room and how that's looking, as well as reorganizing the nursery and getting that ready for baby number 2. So lots of fun content there. I have already organized Owen's big boy closet, so that is up if you're interested in watching that. But we got wallpaper up in there, got some shelves, and I need to put some finishing touches in his room, as well as finishing organizing his dresser. Updating in terms of goals for the month of September, I feel like I can't even. I was going to track my grocery purchases. I did that at the beginning, but again, everything went crazy, as well as the amount that I exercised. I have not been able to exercise in several weeks now, so I'm hoping later this week I will be up for maybe some light walking or gentle stretching type stuff, but I'm really not trying to push it. I am basically just happy that I survived the month and looking forward to a fresh start in the month of October. So I think we can jump right into October again with my planner here. Because of what's happened, I think October might look different than the original plan. Originally, I was going to go to California for about a week near the end of October. I also have a potential work trip in mid-October, again to New York. And I have to say, I am just traumatized by the experience that I went through. I know that it's safe, with quotations, to travel when you're pregnant, and at this point in pregnancy it's still safe for me to travel. I'm just entering my 3rd trimester, and the month of October I'm still good by flight standards and like the general recommendation by my doctor. I haven't had a chance to go to my doctor again and talk about these potential travel plans, but I think number one, the traveling for work alone being later in my pregnancy was really, really scary for me. And having this whole episode and not having somebody else there with me to advocate for me or like to communicate with my family what was going on, because I could barely send a text message to tell Jim when I landed that, hey, I'm not in Omaha, I'm in Chicago. So he was actually almost at the airport ready to pick me up when I sent him a text saying that I landed in Chicago. And again, could barely even type that text out. So I think I feel a little bit uneasy about going on another work trip and being alone again and traveling alone. Even small things like when I'm traveling with somebody else, there's somebody there to help get my suitcase in the overhead compartment, and just all of those little things. Typically, I can physically do all of that, even pregnant, but I'm just feeling unsure about the whole thing. So I'm going to talk to work about that and see what the plan is and if I'm still going to go or not. And then the trip to California, kind of same thing. I don't feel great about traveling anymore in this pregnancy. I'd rather stay home where I have my doctors, not risk things. I'm thinking to myself, what if this would have happened when I was in the Cayman Islands? Like if I was in a different country, how scary that would have been. I don't even know what that would have looked like. What if I am traveling and go into early labor because of some complication and would have a baby that was born really early and potentially in the NICU, and then I'm stuck in a different state with a baby in the NICU who can't be transported? It just all sounds like a nightmare to me. Of course, there are risks whenever you travel, but I think because of this experience, I just want to pause for a moment before I go full steam ahead with my travel plans. Even in November, I was thinking maybe I would travel for Thanksgiving. That's fully off the table for me at this point. I am going to stay in Omaha, but these 2 trips in October, I am also probably going to rethink. So it's looking like it's laying low for the month of October. The main goal is going to be focusing on myself and my health and taking it easy, but also getting back into the swing of things. So I might share some content around that, like what I'm doing to get back into things, because it feels like I've lost 2 weeks of my life and I am so behind, but I want to catch up without overdoing it. So I don't want to just do 15 loads of laundry and say like, okay, I'm starting to feel better, so tonight I'm gonna stay up till midnight and get all of this stuff done, because then I'm gonna overdo it and not feel great again. So I think trying to get back to it without overdoing it is going to be really, really key for me. And same with the rest of my goals for the month of October. This video is kind of different because I'm not going to go really strict with my goals, because I don't think I have that capacity in me right now. And that's important for me to be aware of. If you are ever in a spot like this where something has happened that's really drastically impacted your life, it's okay to take some months where you pull back and say, this isn't the month for me where I'm going to be hitting it super hard. This is a month for me where I need to take care of myself a little bit more. I think that's what I need, and I think it's okay when you might need that as well. So please know on the back end, I'm not stressing out about YouTube or Instagram or anything else really at the house. I'm going to slowly get back into my exercise, slowly get back into cooking, which I love to do. And I think a lot of this month, I'd really like to chip away at the list that I've created of things that I want to get done before baby shows up, starting with some of the less strenuous things, but I look forward to doing a lot of that. So I think that'll keep me excited and motivated through the month. But that's going to be it for the goals for October. And I do want to share one more thing. I have a lot of empties, I think because I was traveling a little bit. I didn't use a ton of products around the house or beauty products for a significant portion of the month, because when I was in the hospital, I was just barefaced and trying to survive and in so much pain. So I'm still surprised that I was able to use up so much. But let's start with house products. And I used up quite a few laundry products, 2 different stain removers that I want to share. Number one, this Soil Love. This is what my mom uses and swears by. So she gave me a bottle of it, and I think this is the last, maybe she gave me a couple bottles, and this is the last bottle that she gave me. This stuff does really work. So if you want to try a stain remover, this is a really, really great one. I hate the smell of it though, and I feel like it is just really harsh in terms of the chemicals that are in here, and that is something I'm trying to pull away from. So I'm not going to purchase it myself, but it is really effective if you need a very effective stain remover. One that I would recommend whether you have kids or don't have kids is this Miss Mouth's Messy Eater Stain Treater. It works on all of the stains that come back on Owen's clothing. There was one day that I picked him up from daycare this past month where he was wearing this really cute light blue 2-piece set, and it was white, basically white with baby blue tie-dye on it. So very, very light in color. And he was covered in dirt and like red spots, and they said, oh, sorry, he played in the dirt today and he had cherries for a snack. I'm like, oh my gosh, why did I pack him in this really light colored outfit the day that he's rolling around in mud and eating cherries? I sprayed this stuff all over it and the cherry stains were gone basically before I even put it in the wash, and the dirt stains all came out. So this stuff is great for food, but really a lot of different random stains. So I would recommend this, and they sell a bigger bottle. So I bought that bigger bottle. They also sell a refill or these smaller ones, which you can take to go with you. After reviewing a bunch of laundry detergents, which I have a whole video on as well, I finished up one of the products that I purchased. This is a laundry powder. And I will say this one is so clean in terms of ingredients, but almost so clean that it is something you could DIY and make on your own. I'm trying to look at where the ingredients are. So basically it's like baking soda, washing soda, and soap is what it says are the common names of the ingredients. So I don't think I'm gonna repurchase this. There are a couple of other very clean laundry detergents and laundry powders that I loved in that review that I'll share again as I use them up that I'm enjoying a lot more, but I almost didn't like this one, so I wanted to use it up and just be done with it. And then 2 cleaners. I have a Jaws disinfectant cleaner that I used up. It is a refillable system where you add water. I like Jaws. I like how small these are. I also had this Turtle multi-surface cleaner that is a drop that I used up. It is a lime and clementine scent. It smells nice. It works really well. Problem with this though, I used it on my stovetop and don't think I've ever used it there before. I don't know what is in this, but it ate through the writing on my stovetop where it says the numbers on the stovetop and has kind of destroyed it. So I have to figure out what my plan is for that because some of the numbers they just like wiped away. If you have any ideas for what I should do about that, let me know because I'm so sad. But on every other surface, I haven't had any issue, but I'm a little bit burnt by this Turtle cleaner. So use at your own risk. I guess with any cleaner, you should really test a small surface area, but it was working well everywhere else. And then I guess with that little spot of writing, that's what happened. Okay, so bathroom products. I filled up a whole bag. I don't know how I did that. I used up one of my favorites. These Dr. Teal's milk baths are the best. I love them. They come in a few different scents. This is the Luminous Skin one. It's collagen. It looks like it's like a pomegranate scent. So great. Love having this in a bath when I just want to relax. And really whichever scent you are picking, you cannot go wrong. I used up some cotton rounds. Use those for toner or to take up eye makeup. I used up something that I've had forever. Maybe you'll recognize this. This is a heat protectant spray. And I'm pretty sure, now I'm gonna forget. I think this came in a FabFitFun box years and years ago. So subscription boxes are really fun, those types of things. I used to do beauty subscription boxes. I did one with one of my friends long distance. It was kind of fun and we would video chat and open them together and it was really exciting, but they just lead to so much clutter. I try and use everything I get no matter what way it comes to me, whether it's like a freebie or if I've purchased it myself or if it came to me in a subscription box. And did like using this, but it took forever to use up just because heat protectants take a long time to use up, but I also already had a heat protectant, so it wouldn't have been something that I was going to spend my money on if I didn't have that subscription box. So yes, sometimes there's a great value and stuff, but it also gives you things that you might not necessarily need. So that's why I'm trying to work through all these things, get through my bathroom products, because there are things like this that I've had for years and years and years and need to get out of my collection. So finish that up. I also used up one of my Arcona, I wanted to say Arconia, but it's Arcona triad pads. These are awesome. Love to wipe my face with them to refresh my face in the mornings. I finished up a Tula 24/7 moisture hydrating day and night cream. Tula is great. It's pregnancy safe, so I've been focusing on using up some of my Tula products right now. And then I think the rest of this stuff is a lot of mini stuff. I tried to take mini things with me as I was traveling. There's a couple full-size things. I used up a base coat of Ella and Mila, which is a little bit of a cleaner nail polish brand. I did enjoy that base coat. I finished up a CeraVe sunscreen that I've also had forever. And the rest of the mini stuff, I used up a mini toothpaste while I was traveling, another mini toothpaste while I was traveling, a mini Aveeno sunscreen. All of these sunscreens that I used up are mineral sunscreens because, again, I'm pregnant. You're supposed to use mineral sunscreens, not chemical sunscreens. I used up a Kopari Moisture Whipped Ceramide Cream, a lotion. I really liked this. This would maybe be something I would think about purchasing in the future, but really enjoyed it. A Neutrogena Hydrating Cleansing Gel. I used this as my face wash while I was traveling. And then PAI, Rosehip Fruit Extract Cleansing Oil. Hate cleansing oils in general. I did not like this one. I took this one on the baby moon and felt like I couldn't wash my face. Sometimes if I do a cleansing oil, I have to do a 2-step cleanse, so it doesn't really do anything for me, and I don't think it helps with my skin type. I used up a mini Tresemme hairspray. Finally, I think this is my last, or maybe it's my second to last, of these Shiseido eye creams. I'm trying to use up all those samples. I got free samples of a Veda shampoo and conditioner, as well as a Virtue shampoo that I also used up. So that's a lot of stuff I can throw in the trash, continue to clean out my bathroom cabinets and drawers and get them emptied out a little bit. I actually had one drawer that is starting to free up that I can use for another purpose now, maybe put some of Owen's stuff in there. So I'm slowly chipping away at all of it. But hopefully this video, though it may not have been what you expected, was interesting. We will get back to the normal goal setting probably in the month of November, but I just wanted to check in as quickly as I could, say that I'm okay, baby's okay, and that I am going to be back in here. And I really appreciate all of the support, whether you've like sent me a little heart on a message on Instagram or sent me an actual message or anything, or just like watching and being here and liking my posts and stuff like that. It really means a lot, and I felt like there were so many people who cared about me and were wishing me well, so I truly appreciate that. But until next time, I will see you all later.